Today I'm going to show you how to fix that pesky little melted blower motor fuse that you get on XJs and MJs. I'm going to show you how I fixed it and how to take that whole bulkhead off and clean all of your connectors. So let's get started. I'm going to talk about removing the fuse block from an old Jeep Comanche. This is a 91 model. The procedure is going to be very similar for any Jeep Comanche or really any Jeep Cherokee XJ from 1996 prior. So let's take a look. So what we've got here is obviously a dash that's out or just getting put back, but I was testing my blower motor and it, here is the blower motor switch here anyhow. And the blower motor keeps blowing a fuse, and I suspect that the problem is behind this fuse block right here. And the reason I say that is because the fuse area is kind of melted. So what I'm going to do is try to remove this and clean all the connections on it. So the first thing I need to do is get a T30, I believe, torque screwdriver. And this here is going to allow me to take these screws off from the actual fuse block under the dash. So let's do that. Okay, let's see. We'll start. We've got a screw right here. And I've got one way up here. So I believe I got the screws all the way out from under there. There's only two. And then the next thing I have to do is, I believe there is a screw under the main harness block right here. So, and I think it's between these areas right here. I can't really see, so I'm going to use a little mirror to make sure. Okay, I'm using a mirror, and if you look in the mirror, I'm going to see if I can zoom in. I'm not so sure I can, but I am going to show you that little bolt. So hopefully you can see that bolt right there, that bolt head. That is, I'm using this mirror, and it is way up in between these two pieces of plastic. So I'm going to try maybe a 10 millimeter and see if that works. Okay, what I found is a 1/4 inch drive, 1/4 inch socket is working to get that little bolt loose. And once you get that that bolt unscrewed right there, you can pull this off. Now this is nasty. It's got lots of looks like grease or something on it, so I'm going to have to pull this out and take a look at it. And underneath the hood, this should go ahead and come out. So we'll see what I can do there. This is nasty. So what I've got to do is clean up this mess and see what is going on with the blower motor. Look at that. And this is the little bolt. That thing's hard to get to. But just so you'll see, if you turn it over, it is up in between these two. So, anyhow. So this is the grime you've got to clean out. Let me see here. So that's pretty nasty. So I'm going to use this electronic cleaner here I got from Napa. Spray it on there to get it clean. And then you got to separate the two halves. As you can see, this part separates here. I've got to get a little screwdriver to separate this piece. Okay, so it kind of separates like this. Now both of these are tied into the wiring harness, so you really can't remove them without cutting them out. But what I want to do is, this blower motor fuse right here is kind of melted in there. I'm going to show you. So as you can see, it blew this fuse, and this is melted right here, and this seems to be a common problem with XJs and MJs, so I'm just really cleaning the back of this up to try to prevent that from happening. All right, using the continuity function on this multi-tester, I've determined that the black and looks like yellow striped, or black and white, is hard to see, is part of that fuse, and then the purple one that I'm touching right here, this purple one is also a part of that blower motor circuit. So what I think I'm going to do, this is damaged real bad, I think I'm going to cut these and just wire in a standalone fuse. All right, these are the two wires that go to the blower motor fuse. You've got this purple one, and you've got this black and I don't know, yellow or orange. It looks like this purple one goes up to this little breaker thing. So I'm going to put a fuse in between these two. I've got this fuse holder here, and so I'm going to put the proper fuse in here because that is all melted. Okay, so what I did was I have this now bypassed for the blower motor fuse, and as you can see, this is where the blower motor fuse was, and it is all melted up in there. So this to me was the easiest solution. Now I'll just finish cleaning it up and putting it all back together. Can't remember if I mentioned this before, but a lot of times the reason these things get all screwed up and goopy is the clutch master cylinder ends up leaking right down there on this wiring junction block. Now I put a new clutch master cylinder on here a few months ago, so that's not the issue anymore, but it looks like that was the culprit. Okay, I've got the lower fuse panel screwed in with the two Torx screws. This is my blower motor fuse now, and show you what it looks like on the firewall. On the firewall, there's my bulkhead connector there. Let me turn this light on so you can see that's what it looks like down there. So now the tricky part is getting this thing back in there. Okay, so now that we've bypassed the burnt, there's your burnt, you can see how nasty that is, right where it says blower. So now that we've bypassed the bad area, cleaned all the connections on that bulkhead, we have put our own fuse in there for the blower, and this purple wire, earlier I had said came off the back. It actually feeds the wiper. I don't think that's a relay, I think that's a little breaker, so it feeds the wiper breaker. So let me show you. I turn the key on, and I turn the blower motor on, it works, but if I turn the key off, the blower motor is still on. And the reason the blower motor is still on is because I have bypassed that ignition system, and we're going to show you what I'm going to do for that. You see I ran wires, one wire to the wipers and one wire to the blower motor circuit. Comes around here, and currently I have them connected in directly to the battery. So what I'm going to do is, if you open your power distribution center, and you will see that this 15 amp is an ignition. And so what I did is I removed the 15 amp. The 15 amp fuse goes right here, and I put one of these taps in there. And these taps are fused. You can get these on Amazon or at AutoZone or what have you. And you just push the tap right in there. Now this 15 amp cuts on and off with the ignition switch. So I am going to put this in here, and now this will be live with the ignition switch, and I'm going to put these two power wires on a couple of relays, and I believe that is why all XJs and MJs, that particular blower motor socket for the fuse always burns up. It's got too much amperage going through there, so we're going to solve that problem once and for all. And once you put your little fuse tap in there, I notched this out right here so that wire could still stay there when I close the lid. These are what's available to you via your local auto parts store or Amazon. So from Amazon for about $10 or $11, you can get these these are called ISO relays. And these relays are very simple. They're single throw, single pole relays, and they come with these nice little sockets. Or you could go to your local AutoZone and pick you up one of these relays, RL44. These are only $5. And for another $5, you can actually get the socket. And here is the socket and relay as a comparison. So I'll put a link to both of these in the description. Actually, this is one pack. It actually comes with 5, and these are individual. This is more affordable. These are considered, like I said earlier, an ISO relay. These are considered a Bosch style relay. I don't think anyone is better than the other for this application. This one is rated at 40 amps. This one's at 30, but I don't even need 30. I only need 15. So I think I'm going to use these. And I like these better because the socket mounts to the wall or the firewall or the metal, and you can take the relay in and out. Where this style, you actually have to mount the relay. So taking the relay in and out is kind of a pain. You have to unplug this. So I do like this style better. Quick thing about these relays, these are not very complicated. People overcomplicate them. So this is your coil right here. And so when you put power to number 1 and number 2, it energizes this coil, and the magnetism of the coil pulls that little switch shut. So 3 and 5 is the actual big circuit, and the small circuit just is here. So I'm going to hook the ignition switch on and off to this circuit here, 1 and 2. So when I cut the ignition switch off, it will de-energize it, or on it will energize it, and the main circuit goes through here. With the wiring that comes with it, it's very easy to realize. There's 2 thick wires, which are the red and the blue, and the thinner wires are the white and the black. The red wires are for your main circuit, which is going to be 3 and 5, and the blue and black are for your switched on-off coil circuit. So very easy to hook up. And another thing cool about these connectors is that you can lock them together. You see the little connections there. Now, you can actually do it on the Bosch type connectors. It's got the little thing there too. But again, you have to mount if you go with this brand, you have to mount your relays, which I don't want to do that. I want to mount the connectors so I can take the relays in and out. Okay, I've got the relays all buttoned up. Power wires go into the relays and then back into the cab. So as far as how to wire that up, you can, every situation is different, so I really don't want to go into that. But you saw the basic wiring that I pointed out earlier in the video. Okay, so now let's test it. We will turn the key on, and I'll turn my blower motor on. As you can hear, it's on, but when I turn the key off, it turns off. Same thing with the wipers. Turn the wipers on. Oops. And then turn the key off. Everything will shut off, as it should. So, well, I hope this video helped you out. This, again, it's just what I did in order to fix that little pesky melted blower motor fuse that a lot of these MJs and XJ, Cherokees and Comanches have. So instead of replacing the whole fuse panel, you might be able to consider this option. So y'all have a great day.